Welcome to the Silicon Valley Health Institute Smart Life Forum. I'd like to go over a couple of small logistical details and then we'll proceed with the main body of our meeting. But those main details are please silence your cell phones. If you need to take a call, please step outside the door and handle it there. If you need to go to the restrooms are out the door, around the corner to the left. Take the first hallway down to the left that way. And it's a little bit of a hike, but eventually you'll run into some rooms that say men or boys or women and girls. I don't know this. I think this used to be a middle school or a grade school before we did this. So let's see. So with that said, let me start again and say welcome. This is the Silicon Valley Health Institute Smart Life Forum, and we meet here every third Thursday of the month. I'd like to tell you just a little bit about us. We're a nonprofit corporation whose primary mission is to provide credible health education to the public with an emphasis on optimal wellness, anti-aging medicine, and longevity. You can get an annual membership here for $60. That covers the admission at the door for an entire year. And I've been coming here now for about 10 years, and it's been $60 that entire 10 years. So it's a really, really great deal at this point. We have a website. If you see in my hand, I have this several sheets of paper. This is a printout of the current newsletter. You can look in the website. You can find past newsletters. You can find links to videos for, I'd say, at least 20 years back or something like that. Quite a treasure trove of information in there. So is there anybody here who's new? This is your first time here tonight? Oh, a couple? Okay, great. Glad to have you here. I think that covers, let's see, the kind of the basics. So become a member. If you're not a member, it's $10 at the door. And yeah, so 120 versus 60, pretty good deal. All right. So one of the first things we start out here doing is to just open things up for questions. So if you have general kind of health questions, you're welcome to kind of present them to the group. And if somebody in the group has an answer, they might put their hand up or offer some suggestion about where to go or whatever. And perhaps if it's related to our talk tonight, you might wait and see if that it's covered in the talk. Also, by the way, please, when you raise your hand, I'll bring you the microphone so that you can speak into the microphone so that we can get you recorded clearly for people to see on the web. And with that, does anybody have a question or perhaps an announcement you'd like to make? All right, here you go.
I'm curious to know if there's any opinions on filtering drinking water. We've been using bottled water for a while. My wife has kind of discovered that the plastic bottles, like over on the table, probably have fines of plastic in it. And so we are trying to figure out a good way to filter water. We can't drink our own water because of the chloramines in it. I'm very allergic to it. But I would like to find some type of filter that's a reasonable price that will filter chloramines.
I'm using an AquaPure reverse osmosis filter. And you're shaking your head no, so you can respond. And when I'm putting the water in the container in the sink, this is Sunnyvale water. I could smell the chlorine and bubbling off, and I say, oh, this is good. So I put it through the filter, and I don't detect anything in the output water. And so that's what I've been using for the last 2 years.
Specifically, I'd like to know chloramine, not just chlorine, because they don't use chlorine anymore because it evaporates right away, but chloramines last forever.
Okay, I think an offer or suggestion back here.
Hi, my name is Daniel, Dr. Readers. I'm an environmental medicine person, and I measure people's bodies for toxins. and it's really common to find a ton of toxins, and some people have some toxins that are higher and some that are lower. And so it's just not chloramine or whatever. It's something called the total body load, toxic load. And the reason that these are important, so if you do a urinary toxin test, that's what your body has in it, and it's spilling it out. And so in summary, I'm a strong proponent of filtering water. And you're taking out the good stuff as well as the bad stuff. And so if you have an illness, you may need 2 filters. So a cheap filter would be something like a Berkey filter, which is a gravity filter, and you can get the black ones and the white ones that take out the fluoride and the arsenic, and that's carbon-based. Another good way to filter your water is by, I forget the term, but you boil the water and it reconstitutes, having a word-finding issue. That's very good. That takes out a lot of stuff. Reverse osmosis is also excellent. The problem with reverse osmosis is that it requires regular maintenance. And so the problem with these toxins is that they poison your mitochondria, and they also love to sit in membranes. As you know, membranes are the brains of the cell, and as the membranes fill up, they become dysfunctional. And there's certain of these chemicals, there's 2 types of chemicals that collect. One are the ones that when you identify the source because you've measured the urine and know what's in the human being, or do a biopsy and measure that, then you can remove the source and it goes away. And then there's the other type of toxins that don't go away no matter, they'll stay in there for years. Why would they leave? And some of those are water and fat soluble, so then you need help to get those out of your cell membranes. And so I hope that answered your question.
That's actually almost an entire talk and an answer. Maybe you should have you come and speak here. You wanted to add something? Sorry.
Try looking up the website Cuzn.com, C-U-Z-N.
Reverse osmosis does well with large molecules, but it doesn't do well with small molecules. Letting water through, it's a small molecule. Well, chloramine's a small molecule, so it's not really good to rely upon reverse osmosis for chloramine. But charcoal works. But the ability to remove chloramine for charcoal's ability is much, much weaker than chlorine itself. And I know somebody who actually did some experiments with charcoal filters, and he said it worked great if you used 10 times as many charcoal filters. So chloramine is fairly noxious. Another suggestion is that chloramine has oxidative properties. It's a mild oxidizing agent, and vitamin C is probably at some level a cellular remedy for the oxidative stress caused by the chloramine.
That's an interesting topic, and I don't recall, any time, is Susan around in here at the moment? Okay. A talk about like water quality and water filtration and stuff like that. I know one of my housemates has one of those, like kind of a drip filter, but it has a little meter stick on the top, and you could stick it down in the water and it would measure. Suppose it would give you a number. I don't know, it's like counting particulates or whatever, but it's giving you a number. And he showed me with one particular filter where it was practically 0. And then we got some replacement filters that were a little cheaper, and now the number is like in the hundreds, which is, the water's still better than out of the tap, but anyway, so we got, okay, one more hand here.
I can add one more thing to that. That's a Zero filter, which is a
It's a brand name, right? Zero?
Well, yes, it's a brand name, but it's based on ion exchange technology. So that means all the positive ions are exchanged for a different positive ion, and the negative ions are exchanged for a different negative ion, and so it's removing the ionic content of the water down to 0, and that's what they're measuring. But turns out that's not really the worst of the pollution isn't ionic. So it's not great.
Point made. Good. Okay, one more comment back here. Let's see. Were you gonna?
So Environmental Working Group's website has comparisons that you can look at, and you can pick your product. So you can look at the different types of filtration systems. There's ratings. It'll tell you what it takes out of the water. So that's a good way to just look at overall products, what's on the market, and what might suit your needs the best. And a follow-up question actually for Mr. Fowkes is, the vitamin C edition, I know that you can get the attachments for like shower filters in that. Can you get the Vita C for just regular, like say your kitchen filtration? Like, is there one that, I haven't seen that.
Steve's shaking his head no. He doesn't know. Okay. Well, good. Anybody want to ask a new question? Or do you want to add something? Or well, let's let him make a comment because he was the one that first asked it. No, I just said Susan. Oh, you said Susan had one. Okay. Okay. Yeah. We'll definitely do that. Good. Okay. A little more.
So then you get to the question about bottled water, and you get the non-BPA containers, and you have. And it's all horrible stuff. It's in your body. The Discovery thing went to the bottomless part of the ocean to find out what they found at Discovery. There were plastic bottles down there. It's in our food. It's everywhere. I'm no fun to take anywhere because it's just, and so, it's just a matter of protecting your body from progress. And the plastic bottles look good and may sound good, but they've been maybe sitting in the sun for 3 months on a ship from somewhere. And so it's all advertising and special water. It's just, you have to filter it all. You live in the world. And, it's a big talk.
Got it. Okay. All right.
There are polycarbonate bottles that you can buy that are fairly resistant, but it's important to keep in mind that the leaching of those bottles by water and chemicals come out of the bottle, it's not linear. Most of the toxins come out early in the bottle's lifespan, and then it trends down over periods of time. So if you're going to go with those like 5-gallon bottles of water and those kinds of systems, don't get new bottles every time. You keep using your old bottles.
All right, good. Okay. Dare I risk one more question? Just have a new question. I don't see any hands going up. Okay, and as Susan's reminding me, I want to make an announcement about a couple of our next upcoming speakers here. So, like I said, we meet on the third Thursday of every month, and for March, I don't have any information about, I just know the speaker is Tom Urema. I'm sorry I don't have any information about what he's speaking about. In April, wanted to make sure you know that John Gray is going to be coming here and speaking. I'm talking about the John Gray. So the topic is Beyond Mars and Venus. And I'm sure it'll be a very full evening. So I'd recommend that you get here early and get in. We may well pack the place. I would expect that. I haven't seen him speak here for 4 years, 5 years. I don't remember what it was. It's been a while. And just a great speaker. And we're kind of a small group, so he gets, loose? He's like, oh, this is an intimate crowd. Let's talk for real, right? Okay. So with that said,